lights by default? Yeah, that's gonna change. Edit keybinds. Lights. F. God, yeah, that used turbo out the gate. Yeah, turbo can be unbound as far as I'm concerned, and if that causes an engine explosion right out the gate, I'm gonna be real irritated. At the very least, it's a waste of fuel, which is bad enough. Yeah, see that we're gaining fragments as we discover these little things here. Yeah, turbo is not a thing that you generally want to do, except in case of emergency. Let's stop at Hunter's Keep. Yeah, there's a part of that we haven't seen, so it's just going to appear at every port, but we're not going to bother with it until we actually have a submarine. Hunter's Keep. A hump of dark rock swathed in mist, like 100 other Untersee islands. But here's a grand house, windows aglow, lawns impossibly green and lush in the false starlight, raked gravel paths. You stand on the dock as the sea nudges at the ship's sides. An unexpectedly warm breeze carries the faintest trace of lavender. So we could try to spy on the house, which is a Veils challenge. We have a 75% chance of success. It's not a very hard challenge at all. We could reconnoiter the island, which would give us a port report. Well, we're going to do that because port reports can be turned in at the Admiralty for some money. Obviously, further away ports tend to give more, but every little bit helps. We're going to try to spy on the house. Piano music drifts across the terrace. You peer through a half-open French window into a grand parlor, grand in size, if a little reduced in style by dust and neglect. A dark-haired, pale-skinned young woman bends earnestly over a piano keyboard. Another, fair-haired but unmistakably her sister, sprawls on the sofa with a book. A third sits by the fireplace, staring sorrowfully into the embers. Soon, she says, and the piano music falters and stops. We'll go hungry, and then the end will come, for me, but not for you. The pianist raises her eyes from the keyboard. Hush, if we don't speak of it. She frowns. Has she seen you at the window? You withdraw. We succeeded at the challenge. We know something of Hunter's Keep, and we've gained 40 fragments. And now we're going to present ourselves at the house. Knock and enter. A maid with smoldering topaz eyes shows you into the parlor where 3 young women wait. A visitor, the youngest cries. The next youngest chuckles. The eldest sighs. Do excuse the indecorum, she says. Visitors are rare. You are very welcome. I am Cynthia. The noisy one is Phoebe. The cheerful one is Lucy. You are in good time for lunch. Will you join us? And we can luncheon with any of them. Cynthia is the eldest, melancholy, pensive, occasionally dramatic. Lucy, the middle sister, is sunny, restless, prone to giggles. Phoebe is soft-voiced, watchful, unpredictable. Now, something awaits us is not a thing right now. This is something that's more if sometimes they don't want to come out for one reason or another, but you can tempt them out with recent news, but we don't need to do that right now. They're willing to come out. So let's luncheon with Phoebe. Here's a story. Phoebe has a story to tell of two lovers parted by water, of a raven that carried messages, of a fragment of the moon. She beats time on the table as she speaks, as if to a song only she can hear. The effect is hypnotic. Your attention drifts out through the skylight of the dining room to the false stars glittering in the roof of the cavern. You drift like a puffball spore. The Untersee shimmers below. Islands lie like mineral specimens on black velvet. Ships bob like wood chips between the islands. Vast spined things pulse in the depths. There is a scent like the scent before a storm. The storm came, says Phoebe quietly. Everything changed. Somewhere in there, you finished the last course. The scowling maid reluctantly serves cheese and Bath Oliver biscuits. We have one memory of distant shores. We're acquainted with the Sisters of Hunter's Keep. We gained one supplies. Our hunger was reset because we had lunch. We did not gain any fragments, and we now have the Gods of the Sea Storm's attention. An ancient anger knows you. That could be good or bad. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, we'll be stopping at this place a lot because it's a great way to reset hunger and gain some supplies early game. Yep. Encountered an opponent. The red arc shows the range of your deck gun. Keep the enemy in range while your crew works out a firing solution. This will happen faster if you keep the enemy in your light. The deck gun will be highlighted as your crew make progress towards the firing solution. Tutorial, what are you doing? Guess we'll have the light on because they definitely see us now. You've destroyed a pirate steam pinnace. The ship is yours. What will you do with her? Loot and scuttle her. She's a vile old vessel, and these Z's aren't safe. Take what you can and move on. These pinnaces don't sail far from their hidden harbors, but there's something in the back of the hold. A bolt of fabric. Shake out a little and let it glimmer in the light. Spider silk. You can find spider silk in London, of course. There are troubles there with sorrow spider infestation, like anywhere in the Neath. But for real quality, you need to go east, to the Connate, or to the fang-bristling fastness of Savior's Rocks. So we can sell that later. Okay, we're gonna try hitting the frickin' F key again. It says it's on lights now. Thank you. Gun ready to go. Now obviously we want the light on most of the time to keep terror down, but sometimes if we're in friendly waters where terror doesn't really tend to rise much anyway, I'll turn it off to save fuel. We have arrived at Venderblight. The trouble with tomb colonists. You've brought this decaying immigrant north. Now what? Days of shrooms and roses. The new tomb colonist surveys Venderblight, shaking her head. It won't do, she says. It won't do at all. I had no idea the place would be quite so unprepossessing. Perhaps we can liven it up a little yet. If only I knew a helpful sea captain. Bring 10 units of mushroom wine to Venderblight, and perhaps they'll have something for you. Okay, well, we'll do that when we get enough stuff. Okay, first get the port record. Who's plotting what out in the tomb colonies? Along the coasts of the Undersea, it's remarkably hard to die. The decrepit and nearly dead who leave London become tomb colonists and settle here in bandaged peace. But they don't give up their ties to home or their politics. You gather a haul of complex clues, enough to keep your contacts in London interested. Okay, a lot of these we can't do, in part because they're connected to the submariner thing. This would be if we wanted to do shore leave and Venderblight, and we do not have enough terror, and frankly, it's not a great place for shore leave. We can explore. Here they favor candlelight over gaslight. The shadows are swagged like cobwebs. The tomb colonists stand still enough to be mistaken for sculpture until they laugh or cough. One building in 3 seems abandoned. A withered garden. Dead fir trees have carpeted a little park with old brown needles. A little group of tomb colonists stands around another lying on a bench. Unexpectedly, you find yourself reminded of physicians and midwives at a birthing couch. The colonist on the bench. He's old, withered to sticks, groans horribly, though the fir needles deaden the sound. Something moves in his chest, like a sea creature surfacing, or a butterfly breaching a cocoon. The other colonists spot you and close ranks around him. "Stay back, Silkskin," one hisses. This is his breaking out. "Your time will come." There's a kind of rapture in her voice. Gained 1 tale of terror. We gained 1 terror. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. You've gained 15 fragments. Okay, so they turn into cocoons. And let's see. Find ancient captains to speak to the unsettled salvager. Shouldn't be too hard. What else have they got to do around here but molder? An assortment of decrepit Z captains gathers around her, compelled by tradition, honor, or boredom. She picks her nails and closes her eyes when at last she speaks. "I want to find Lady Black." The captains that can run, do. The rest shuffle away as swiftly as they're able. Only one remains behind. "How long were you down there?" he asks. 20 minutes, she replies. The captain puts his hand on her shoulder. "Seek the House of the Keel in Polythyreme," he says. "But if you could forget her, do. It's possible." He embraces her and departs. I guess we're bound for Polythyreme, wherever that is. Visit the first curator. Z captains, the first curator gives audience. The first curator is responsible for preservation of the tomb colonies. It's been here much longer than London, like all the oldest tomb colonists. But even tomb colonists dissolve in the end. Its time is close. No more light. The obsequious steward cautions you. The curator is terribly afraid of moths. He opens the door, and you step into near darkness. A pair of luminous lamplighter bees buzz in a latticed ivory tube. There is no other source of light. A bandaged shape no larger than a child lies crumpled on a couch. It lifts its head with obvious effort. It takes several seconds for you to distinguish its voice from the soft buzz of bees. We can listen to a whispered request, ask about the Grand Sanatorium, accept the commission, or depart for now. Let's listen to the whispered request. Z Captain, Silkskin, not much left of me. I will go into the Grand Sanatorium. Bring me colors, 7 colors. Pay well. Cosmogon, Irigo, Pelican, Steward has list. Find them here and there across the wide black Z. Gonna ask about the Grand Sanatorium. One hears the name whispered here and there in the arcades of Venderbite. Oh, Silkskin, you don't want to know. The chuckling becomes a cough. We don't die here below. Not unless we go to Z. So we needed something else. Somewhere to end. Going to accept the commission. No more words. It collapses, rustling, back on the couch. Even the effort of speaking seems to have diminished it a little. The audience is over. As the door opens, it shrinks from the finger of light that reaches across the floor. Outside, the obsequious steward nods. The book? Yes, the book. He hands you a slim, illustrated volume. The curator is old as dust. We will all be grateful if you do this one last favor. Okay, so we have things on all the different colors that we need to find. Let's see if any of these offer hints as to where to get them. Book for children. One page is devoted to each of the colors of the Neath, which are not found on the surface. Return to the curator with each of the 7 impossible colors in hand. The book's pages give you clues, but you'll need to seek far ports. Wakes Apocyan. The blue of memory and brightest coral. Okay, I think I have some idea where that might be. Something about chess pieces of all things. Lights Cosmogon. The color of remembered suns. The fecund, the fetid, the fungal. These flourish in the glow of Cosmogon. Is lost in Gant, which remains when all other colors are eaten. Gant can be found where shadows are myriad. Is for Irigo. No one remembers why. Irigo colors the forgotten corners of home. Possibly Irem. Irem's weird. Drowns in Pelican, the color of the deepest Z. Someone has scrawled in the margin, beyond the gate there is a sea more sunless. Okay. Marks violent, when blood is shed in a spired place. Violent ink is employed for the most desperate treaties. Behind your mirror, V names Virik, the color of shallow sleep. Okay. This is going to be one of those we find it as we find it kind of things, I think. The Kothea class steam yacht. A vessel for diplomats, merchants, and wealthy spies. Costs 1 deeds to a steam yacht. So we can't even buy this. This is like a special item we need to get to trade for this. And I can see why. It doesn't have all the ship slots, unfortunately. So it doesn't have an after or forward slot. Hull of 250, hold of 70, weight of 3,000, quarters 20, and gives a solid bonus to everything except iron. So let's see. We need to go to Frostfound. That's a thing that needs to happen, and it is up here in the north, so we could try to go for it. Not the safest of waters, though. But we can try. Just we also need to worry about fuel. We've already used nearly half of our fuel. Yeah, we'd better start angling to go south. I say, turning to the north so that we can discover that abyss there. Yeah, we're gonna do a small loop. Ooh, something's seen us. Took a small hit, but that's okay. A bat swarm defeated. Little leathery corpses lie scattered across your deck. The rest of the swarm vanishes into the Neathy dark. We can slightly reduce terror, or we can get supplies. We're getting supplies. We gain a tiny bit of terror from that. An unorthodox diet. Those little bones are troublesome, and the flesh... Sorry, my mouth decided not to work. Those little bones are troublesome, and the flesh a little gamey, but salt them well enough and they're quite edible. We gain 1 supplies and 1 terror. I'm okay with that trade. We're doing really great on supplies. It's just going to be, how long does our fuel last? And yeah, we're going to start kind of vaguely angling south. We'll either stop at London if we can't make it all the way to the hell place where the fuel prices are best, but we might have to get some fuel in London. Oh, we have an enemy there. Let's see if we can get behind them. Particularly if we could just keep driving them up into the rock. This was very fortunate. To get them caught up on this rock like this. Because this would normally damage us a little bit to try to take one of these on with this gun and these stats. Oh, she survived on 1 health. Not that it matters too much in this case. Destroyed a pirate frigate. The ship is yours, and we can... I've never seen an option other than loot and scuttle, so... There's something at the back of the hold. We gain 2 supplies and 2 fuel, especially the fuel. We're doing great on that. Bolt of fabric. Parabola linen. Parabola is the serpent placed behind mirrors, or someone made that up. But in that case, where do they weave this sleek and ambery glimmering cloth? Yeah, we're probably going to want to stop off at London and sell these. There might be places to get better prices, but... You know, we have to think of hold space. So these places here... I know you can buy fuel from them, but it's very expensive. Like, I think I've done that once in an emergency. And that's about it, but we'll stop. Lightship. Its clear, bright beam warms the way. Yeah, we can trade recent news. They long for news of home. Tea beneath the light. In the bleaching glare of the lens, among the smells of oil and metal, you sip tea and chat. The Z's terror recedes. Okay, that cut our terror in half and we got a Z story in exchange for recent news. And yeah, you can also buy fuel here, but it's quite expensive. So we're not gonna do that. And we've discovered the Shepherd Isles. Honestly, they're in a slightly different... I'm used to them being like more down here. Or I might be thinking of... Yeah, okay, I'm thinking of a slightly different island there. I've seen this. Our veils are not great. Gonna take a few hits. More stuff. Ooh, got a little bit of fuel from that. Worth it. The bearded watchman tells you there are no actual shepherds in the Shepherd Isles. Sheep are mostly illegal here. No, indeed. It's just the name of the gentleman that found the islands. Greybeard sitting in the village square nods solemnly. No sheep, one says, but plenty of tales. Ask us anything. So, let's see. We can ask for tales. That one's locked unless we bring them mushroom wine and a crap ton of supplies. Yeah, we're going to compile a port report. That's just something to do. Engage an officer, the sigil-ridden navigator. Now, obviously, that would be going instead of the sly navigator. It doesn't cost you anything to have officers in reserve, so... Let me guide your ship. I know all the Z, how it was, how it will be. Please, the headaches only stop when I'm working. Okay. We will have to give him 50 echoes to hire him on. Sure, because, spoiler alert, when we take the Sly Navigator to Frostfound, which isn't going to happen on this trip because we were running low on fuel, but is eventually going to happen, I'm pretty sure he disappears. So, I would like a replacement. Thank you. The nonsense here was a distraction for a while, but only the Z can help me now. Ah, my God, the air, the air. It's clearer already. Let me chart a course for you. Ah, my head. Appoint your new officer by dragging him. Yeah, da-da-da-da-da. Do this in port, not at sea, or you may unsettle your crew. Yeah, that's what I remembered being a thing. Let's do that before I forget, because we are at port right now. And yeah, he gives mirrors +1. He gives mirrors +6, and veils +3. Hi. Welcome aboard. We can still do his quest. Even though he's not assigned, I think. So we'll take him up to Frostfound eventually, and, you know, if it says he has to be assigned, then we'll be in port at Frostfound. We can switch him then. Let's see. They sell things at horrible prices. That's about it here, so... Let's see if there's anything else to do here. We could picnic at the Standing Stones, which I think will reduce our terror for a very tiny cost. Or we can ask for Tales of the Standing Stones, the Three Graves, or Thornwell Croft. Let's start with Standing Stones. The bearded villagers are happy to talk about the local sites. Well, site. True as I stand here, they were sisters from the sisterhood over on Abbey Rock, come here hunting a renegade who served the god called Stone. Ran her to the ground here, and she called on the god, and the god struck 'em all to pillars of rock. Stand close and quiet, and you'll hear 'em weeping. Gained another tale of terror, and 1 terror, which is fine. Oh, little crap. That's okay. Start backing up. Oh. Survived it. Ah, just in case. Should have fired just a hair faster. Let's dissect it for knowledge and see what that gets us. A crab full of conundrums. You set to work with your knives and acids. It is an undistinguished adolescent specimen, a megalops, of one of the deep Z crab species, but its eyes, normally vestigial in these troglodytic beasts, are large and rather beautiful. The golden glow is almost gone now, although sparks leap now and then to your knife. And we gain 25 fragments. I think we can keep gaining fragments by dissecting them, but you get the most the first time you do it. So for future ones of those, we may just butcher it for supplies. We have gained a secret. We can speak to our officers to improve our abilities. Let's talk to the sigil-ridden navigator and see what he can do. Inviting them to dine usually is like what starts their quest. We'll do that sometime. What I like to do is I wait until the hold is basically full and we have some extra supplies and I need to clear some space. He can increase mirrors up to 100. Now, I will say, Veils is kind of the one that I want to raise if possible, so we're going to hold on to the secret for now, but that's what he can do. Stop off at Abbey Rock. A black spit of an island, far from anywhere anyone would want to go, and that's how the Sisterhood likes it. Here stands their fortress covenant. Fortress, okay, that's not... Okay, here stands their fortress convent, which is not a set of words I ever thought I would say together. There are bear traps that look friendlier than this. Resources are limited on this bleak rock. The Sisterhood will pay a fair price for supplies. Not a good price, mind. 20 echoes to be precise, which is what we would buy them for in London. So again, this is sort of a place where if the cargo hold is full and you have extra supplies, selling them here and then heading on to London and then buying them after you've basically buying them back after you've made room and sold other stuff is an option. We'll compile a port report. It's unlikely to be eventful. Nothing is happening. The sisters watch us. We feel their eyes. The sea crashes on the rocks, withdraws. The fortress stands stolid as the last year of a century. The greatest peril you risk here is a certain purpleness of prose. Okay, apparently we'd need recent news to get more stuff here. Now, we could search the surroundings. That requires something called beginner's luck, which is obviously, as what the name would imply, is something we only get to use once. Now, I can't remember if each new captain gets to use it once or if this is once per game file. And I'm not sure Abbey Rock is where we want to use this. I kind of want to see, like, I know there are multiple options for where to use it, so we're going to hold on to that for now. Yeah, that's the other island I was thinking of. That's Mutton Island, so it's a separate thing from Shepherd's Isle. That was what confused me earlier. Yeah, let's see if I was right about you get less. No, okay, still getting 25. So glad I tested it. We can just keep getting fragments that way. Or supplies if we need them. Mutton Island, Quaker's Haven. Once the simple fishing village was part of the London suburbs, before London fell and the waters rushed in. We can chat to the fishermen. They sail the sea around the island. They mend their nets by the harbor. They see all that happens here, but you'll need coin to open their mouths. Well, 1 echo isn't that much. You could visit the hilltop above town. There's not much wind on the Untersee, but Mutton Island suffers eerie gusts and buffets from an inexplicably local fragment of weather. And the air on the hilltop sometimes carries interesting scents. And then fuel and supplies here are bad deals, so let's try visiting the hilltop. It's apparently a straightforward challenge. Pages is once again coming in handy. Toasting the wind. You stand on a cliff top looking over the little village. Smoke from the chimney of the Cock and Magpie drifts straight upwards. As you watch, the smoke tilts. The sudden wind thins to a pencil smudge, then nothing. The wind screams unexpectedly, like God cut in half. What a noise! It must be the caves around the island channeling the air. At least, that's the most comforting explanation. Below you, the locals each take nips from a shared flask and make a toast towards the mainland. The wind is a southerly. Gained a little bit of terror, but a lot of fragments. Let's chat to the fishermen. I think this is what gets a support report, and it'll get us more than 1 echo in return. Little ships and little secrets. Pirates plying the waves. Smugglers at their work. Connate ships putting in to resupply. Nothing dramatic, but enough to interest the Admiralty. I tend to not really worry about terror too much until it starts getting to like 30 or so. Then I start trying to avoid it. And then once it starts pushing above 50, I start to get kind of nervous. And then once it's at 70 or so, I'm like, oh crap. For anyone curious. Because I keep saying not to worry because we've only been getting like 1, 2, or 3 terror at a time. And we've gotten a few things that reduce it. So we're not doing too bad. We're sitting at 12 right now.